Thank you for joining. Today we're going to be looking at malware analysis. So let me show you what I have prepared. I have some examples of different malware like WannaCry, StackNet, and then I have one slide to explain what are the different types of malware, Trojans, spyware, worms, and how are they different. Then we're going to talk about examples of those different categories of malware. So I can show you specific code from those malware so you would understand why are they different and how do they hack your system. And then we're going to expand into future type of malware. So Black Mamba, which is a polymorphic malware that changes every time that it attacks. So it's very difficult to detect. Then we're going to look at some very recent examples and how they're registered in the CVE database. That's the National Vulnerability Database. And finally, I'm going to end this with an example of Gydra. So Gydra is a reverse engineering AI-powered malware, and it's developed by the NSA. So there's nothing here that you need to worry about protecting your computer or something. This is going to be completely legit video. In other videos, I'm going to be talking about static malware analysis and dynamic malware analysis, and I'm going to be including examples. Now, just a disclaimer, why am I recording these videos? Well, first, I have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe, and it's a free channel. It's always going to be free, and it's called AI School Oxford. It has like 116 subscribers already. I record videos on polymorphic malware, on static analysis with different tools, on Bayesian optimization for AI malware analysis. And now the question is, why am I doing all those things? I held tutorials with O'Reilly, for example, and I have one coming. This is going to be on the 4th of January. It's gonna be 4 hour session, and I have to prepare for the session. So I have to be fast on those tutorials. And what you're seeing here in these videos is basically like a performer rehearsing his performance before the actual show. So like imagine you want to go see Beyonce performing. This is gonna be like the day before the show. That's what it is. If you want to see the actual content on January the 3rd. Most companies, most large corporations, and most universities have free subscription to the O'Reilly Digital Library, so you might be able to get a spot on that session. It's going to be on the 3rd of January, which is just after the new year, and not many people are free on those days, so you still have a chance to sign up. And if you don't, if you watch this video after that date, remember that the YouTube channel is always going to be free. I believe in free education, so that's the whole purpose of the YouTube channel. I don't actually make any money. I'm not monetized. They don't pay me anything. I don't charge subscription, and I don't intend to do that. So, on that note, let's start with actual malware analysis as opposed to yadding about things. So, let me see if I can expand this. I haven't done this. I haven't used PowerPoint and the camera in the same time. But yes, I can. So the camera remains here and the PowerPoint, let's see if I can. No, that is it. So, who am I? I'm Petar Danliev. I work for the University of Oxford for the Department of Computer Science. I'm a professional master's program project supervisor. And actually, you can find my profile if you just type my name. So if you type my name in Google, that is the link to my work profile, and that's the university webpage news items, and that's my Google Scholar publications. So if you click on any of those links, you're going to find out more about my background. So that's the Department of Computer Science. My research interests are listed here. Then awards that I have received, like the Fulbright Fellowship and many other things. That is more of a news. The other link is more about the news and event, find an expert. So here it's more up to date about my books and things. And if you want to read some of my publications, you can read them for free. So they're all available on Google Scholar. And if you click by year, you're going to find the most up to date. So this one is on AI security and cyber. It actually took 5 years to write that research paper. and the University of Oxford paid the £3,000 fee. So it's open access. When you click on the link, it's not going to ask you to register or pay anything. You're just going to be able to read it. So that's a 5 years of research in one paper, and there's like loads and loads and loads and loads of papers, which makes me wonder what do I do with my life, spending 5 years writing a paper, but it is what it is. Um, Again, that's me. Why am I writing introduction to malware? My course is going to be on polymorphic malware. That's AI malware. But if you don't know what is malware, then how do you know what is AI-based malware? So first you have to include 1 or 2 slides to explain what's the difference between malware and other types of cyber attacks. Well, put it in simple terms, malware is the software element of the cyber attack. So there's various different types of cyber attacks, and some are social engineering, for example, when you don't need to have any technical skills, you just need to make a phone call and trick some old person to send you money into your bank account. I'm not saying that you should do it, but I'm saying that is how the cyber attack. I need to change the way that I explain these things, not thinking in a hacking terms, but thinking more different terms. So the malware is the software that you build. So a hacker needs to build a software in order to penetrate a system. And again, there's different types of hackers. Some hackers have no technical knowledge. To build malware, you need to have technical knowledge because malware refers to viruses, worms, trojans, ransomware. Actually, I'm going to retract that statement. Do you really need to have technical knowledge to become a hacker? You can find most of those hacks freely available on the dark web and you can purchase them. Some of them are like as cheap as 50 USD. And that is why we need to have malware analysis in cybersecurity because with the emergence of internet and these new AI tools, it's no longer the case that only large hacking organizations like the Lazarus Group or nation state cyber attack groups would be able to penetrate the system. No, now we have a market for viruses, and there is no point hiding it. It's happening. That's anyone with interest in hacking a system can go to that market, purchase a virus, and attack a device. And there's even a BBC report on how easy it is to do that. So if your partner wants to spy on you, is a simple tool that you need to register, and the people who build the tool are based in some unknown country that you cannot trace them, but you make a payment in cryptocurrency and they send you a link, and then you have that link valid. You pay a monthly subscription, the same like subscribing to ChatGPT, and as long as you pay the monthly subscription, you have access to that tool. And what the tool does, you simply need to get your hands to somebody else's phone for a few seconds. Maybe your partner goes to the toilet and you have access to the unlocked device. You log into a link, and it's a very easy link. So the link is simplified so you can just type it very quickly. It's reduced. It's not going to be a long link that you have to type like 10,000 letters. No, it's going to be like very short link. You type a few letters, you open the link, you log in with the user credentials that the hackers have provided you for the monthly subscription, and you close it, and that's it. From that point onward, you can watch. You can actually see the camera from your partner's phone. You can see the text messages that they're sending. You can see the actual screen, and you can hear as well. So even when the phone is switched off, you can still hear when your partner is sleeping. You can hear them snoring if that's your thing. When they go to work, you can hear them having conversations with their colleagues. And I know this can sound scary. I'm talking about the BBC report that you can go and watch online. And again, there's no point hiding these things. These things are happening. You need to know how to protect yourself. And first thing in finding out how to protect yourself is knowing that this thing exists. So now that you know, I doubt that you're gonna give your phone to anybody unlocked. Because remember, in order for your partner or anybody, your colleagues to hack your phone, they need to have it unlocked. And if you don't unlock your phone, if you a very strong password that you won't tell anybody what's the password, then they won't be able to hack you. But how many people share their mobile phone between themselves? They say, "Oh, what's your password? There's my password," and then they're gonna check something on the internet. It's only gonna take that person 3 seconds to log in and spy on you, which is creepy. And why would your partner need access to your phone? It's a question. I don't know the answer. If you're fully in trust, yes, but if you're just starting a relationship with someone, maybe you should keep an eye on your phone because it's that simple to hack somebody and to see your messages, to see your camera, to see everything. Now, there are two different types of analysis of malware. So there's a static analysis and there's a dynamic analysis. Static analysis is basically running the code in in a static without executing the application. Dynamic is when you execute the application, so it's a little bit more risky, but they are both necessary because sometimes the code is smart, so it activates and then deactivates. So if you're running a static analysis, it won't show because it only activates at some point. And StackNet is an example of that. So StackNet was a um, we'll talk about StackNet, but it's one of the the best hacks that we developed. So there it is, StackNet. Um, Starting with the definition, what is malware? Malware or malicious software. So it's basically software. That's what it is. Malware is just software. And it refers to any software that is designed to damage a computer, server, client, or a network. Well, that is the official definition. I would say not always. You don't always want to damage a computer. Sometimes you just want to spy on a computer. So therefore, this definition, it's simplified in order to make it clear to people that they don't know what's malware. But malware is not always following the pattern that is explained in the definition of malware. And other people would say that malware can disrupt operations, steal sensitive data, or control systems. Yes, but sometimes it's not really that the whole purpose of malware. Sometimes the malware is just designed to, watch you, to watch what's happening, to observe. And we're going to get into that. On the next slide, I'm going to have various different types of malware that they don't fit into this category, but that is the definition of malware. Now, if you wanted to see two of the most famous examples of malware, now discretion advice. Once you start clicking on this code, uh, yeah, things can happen. So WannaCry was a ransomware, and it emerged in 2017. So this ransomware spread very fast across systems, encrypting files and demanding cryptocurrency payments to restore access. And this exploited a vulnerability in the Microsoft Windows Eternal Blue. And this is a good definition of what is ransomware. Ransomware is when somebody wants to money. And who can be interested in this kind of attacks? The most famous example is Lazarus. Lazarus Group is a group of hackers from North Korea. They're very good. And usually they need money to fund the nuclear program in North Korea. How do they do that? Well, they're just gonna hack some systems, they're gonna encrypt the files, and they're gonna ask you for a payment. And they can hack, for example, the NHS, and then you need the NHS to be working, otherwise people are going to be dying. And most of the time, the governments would pay them, and they would never admit that they paid them. But if nobody paid them, there would be no ransomware. The reason why it's so prolific, such a prolific business, is because companies quite often they pay and they don't disclose. Actually, well, there's one company that comes to mind that decided to challenge a ransomware attack. It's a shipment container uh, group, and they actually suffered significantly. So the best case is that you have protections in place to protect yourself from this kind of thing. Otherwise, you still going to pay the money. So this is a argument for large corporations because they see cybersecurity as a risk investment in an event that it might happen or it might not happen. That's how they see it. So when you're talking to an accountant for a very large corporation, they say, "Oof, we need to spend X amount of money to protect ourselves from a potential attack, which might never happen." Uh, and they say, well, why are we going to spend so much money? Maybe we should insure, and maybe you should do this, and maybe we should do that. And this is the problem where accountants are left in charge of your security. So if you leave accountants to run your security system, uh, things can get really, really bad. the investment will come at a later stage in the payment of a ransomware. So if you don't pay for security today, next year or the year after, you might be hacked, your files will be encrypted, you won't be able to operate, and you're gonna need to pay a heavy fine. Then you're gonna invest in cybersecurity, but this is gonna you're gonna pay twice. And there's an old saying that says, "Poor man always pays twice." Well, that has changed now. So accountants always pay twice because they're gonna count every little penny, and they won't really calculate the risk. So you need to have a risk assessment process in place to see if I get hacked, if my system gets encrypted, uh, what is the reputational damage that I'm going to suffer? That's the very first thing. Because even if no data has been lost, the reputational damage of being hacked is going to expose you to who wants to trade with a company that can be hacked. If you're not investing in your security, just not a reliable company. But anyways, I have explained in great detail what is ransomware. Uh, Now, what is Stuxnet? Stuxnet is a worm, and actually, I'm going to click on those links. So when you click on that link, you can see the code. It's a simple click. But I can explain first, then I'm going to click on the link. And Stuxnet was a worm designed to target the nuclear facilities in Iran. And how it worked is that occasionally it would activate at random and it would spin one of the centrifuges. And then it was designed to make them doubt their abilities to work on a nuclear plant. So it was not designed to attack and destroy the centrifuges. They can replace them easily. They can call Russia, and Russia will provide new centrifuges. Uh, they can send them by boat, and there's nothing you can do about it because they have a sea access one to another. Unless you decide to to I don't know bomb every boat that travels from Russia to Iran. There's no way how to stop it. So it was not designed to spin loads of centrifuges and destroy their nuclear program. It was designed to make them doubt their ability to run the program. So it was designed to, if, let's say, imagine that you're a Ukrainian scientist working in a nuclear plant and everything, you've done everything the way that you've been told by somebody, by North Korea, by Russia, and then one centrifuge just spins out of control and explodes, and you don't know why. And then you call the Russians, you call they run tests, and everything works fine. And they say, "Oh, you've done something wrong." Then the Russians would leave, maybe next month or at some unpredictable time. The worm will activate itself, spin another centrifuge, blow it out, and then deactivate again and delete all the trace that it was there. It was a very smart move, and because those facilities, the nuclear facilities in Iran, they had a zone they called demilitarized zone in between, which means that there's no direct connection to the internet. They felt safe. They felt that nobody could actually hack them because there was no connection to their systems. Um, it only came into discovery when Israelis. It was a tool designed mostly by the Israelis and the Americans, but the British were also engaged into this. And it only became publicly known thing when the Israelis decided that they want to use this tool to stop this number of centrifuges. And again, as I explained, it was not designed to do that. It doesn't have a potential to do that. So what the Israelis did, they just spin loads and loads of centrifuges, they blow them up, and then the Iranians became suspicious. They called cybersecurity experts from Russia, and they detected that there was something wrong, and then Stuxnet was discovered. But by the time that Stuxnet was discovered, remember it was only intended to hack that that nuclear facility. Actually got out of control, so it started spreading across the world. So it was everywhere. It was in Russia. It was in every country in the world. And that is just an example of how you build a specific tool for one purpose, but then the genie goes out of the bottle and you lose control over it. But now let's look at quickly at the link. So this is the WannaCry decryptor, and this is from NSA, so Cyber Weapon Powered Ransomware Worm. And here you have all the different descriptions if you want to learn how this system operates, which systems are vulnerable, which systems are not vulnerable. So in case you get afraid about it, so you would just check that your system is not on the list. If it's not on the list, you're not vulnerable. Uh, and if you want to see the infections, so you would be able to see this long list of successful infections from SCACnet. So it was designed for it was designed for Iran, but as you can see, it did manage to hack Russia, and actually Russian railroads. It was not intended to hack those. It hacked into China, which was not intended to hack the secondary schools of China. And if you don't believe that, then it hacked the NHS. It was definitely not designed to hack the UK NHS. It was definitely not designed to hack the FedEx. So those are all the infections, the most famous infections. And here you would find the cryptographic details of how it operates and the Bitcoin ransom addresses. So we even know the addresses. And people say that cryptocurrency payments are, one way of how to, lose the trail of the hackers. Well, not really, not the cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency addresses, if I log onto that address now, I can be able to see all the transactions that are going in and out of that since the beginning of time because it's open ledger. Actually, if you send money via a bank, it's more difficult to trace it than with a Bitcoin. To trace transactions with a bank, you need to get access to that bank. That bank needs to approve that. You need to have official formal requests, which you can obtain. But it's a lot more difficult than just going on a scanner like Ethereum scanner and check all the transactions on Ethereum or Arbitrum scanner and you can check all the transactions that they happen since the beginning of time. And you cannot erase those. They stay there forever. So the idea that Bitcoin is, one of those hacking techniques that needs to be closed, well, no, actually, there's other tools that they need to be closed, and those are the mixers. So there are mixers that they mix loads of payments into one, and then they exit, and you don't know if the payment, obviously, if you send a trillion and there's a trillion entry and trillion exit, you can trace it. But usually there's like a big mixer that you send the money in there. And because everybody's sending the money to that mixer and the exit addresses are always the hot wallets from that mixer, you don't know, you lose the trail. So how do I explain this? Imagine that you have a wallet and every transaction that you send is traced to a different wallet. And you can easily create this as a graph. So I can show you how these graphs are created. But you see that the trail persists. So every time a transaction is being made between those wallets, there's a trail. But now imagine that you send this to a mixer, and that mixer sends the transactions to various different wallets, but it's no longer explaining to you that the actual transaction came from this wallet. It's just sending this from the hot wallet. And this is what they used in order to, extract that money. It doesn't mean that you cannot trace it. It just means that it's more difficult. And actually, those mixers, one of those, the people who created two Russians that they created a mixer like that, they ended up in prison. And then the feds, they had to go to a very lengthy legal case of is that illegal to write the software for that? And it turned out that it's not. So now they're out of prison. They're free. So apparently building that mixer is not a crime. And this is the problem, is those mixers. It's not the Bitcoin. So when people say Bitcoin is used for crime, really need to doubt the knowledge of that person of how Bitcoin operates. Bitcoin is an open ledger. Everything is clearly visible. The mixers are a problem. But the problem is that sometimes it's difficult to close those mixers. So the mixers are run. Mixer is a software. So how can you stop software? Even if you delete this specific software, you can just copy and paste the code, create a new mixer, call it something else, and you can still use it. But as long as you have users, and here is the key to how to prevent this crime from happening. If you make those mixers illegal, or if you own them, if the US government owns them, then, th- anyways, this is going to get out of the topic of this tutorial. That is the problem, the mixer. This is not the problem. So you have to be able to pinpoint where to put the guns and where to protect. Because if you're protecting something, Bitcoin is the safest financial payment mechanism in existence today. Actually, if you use a quantum computer, which let's say the Google Willow would have only has one qubit operational, to hack the current payment systems, the banking payment systems, you need 4,000 qubits. To hack Bitcoin, you need 8,000 qubits. So you need double that, which means that Bitcoin is far more secure than the current payment systems. Anyways, this is the code for WannaCry, and this is the code for Stuxnet. So here, I'm a little bit careful clicking over there, although this is over 10 years old. So this a lot of the repository contains the RSC code extracted from Stuxnet binaries with the disassembler and decompiler. So it's extracted the Stuxnet binaries. That's what it is. And how do you want to play with it? Well, yes, of course. Stuxnet it's an old thing. It's no longer a threat to most devices. And as you can see, these people here are legit people that they actually this is a student. So this person is a student at a university. But again, is it something that I'm going to play with? No, I'm not going to play with Stuxnet. Not unless I have a sandboxed environment. So you need to create a sandboxed environment in order to play with that. Now, moving on to the next slide, introduction to malware analysis. And this is an interesting slide here. So what is malware? We explained that there's various different categories of malware. And why is it important to analyze malware? We explained that it's not something that you should be afraid to talk about because most of the time the devices that you use are secure by default. And if you use them properly, malware won't be able to affect you. The only time that malware affects people and organizations, well, not always, but most of the time, 99% of the time, is when they don't use their devices properly. So the breaches in security, as I explained with the mobile phone, if you have your password and if your phone is locked, and if I don't know what's your password, there's no way for me to install that malware on your device. The hackers would depend on seeing unlocked device into tricking you for 1 second to give them access to your device. Once they get access to your device, once they install that, it's too late. You won't even know. It's not going to show any signs that it's been hacked. They will be able to listen and hear what you're doing. And obviously, companies keep coming up with patches. That's why it's important to update your devices regularly. Um, but the hackers are clearly working. It's their job. They have to make a money. So if you think that if one patch has secured your device and you're secured forever, then you are wrong. As long as there's money to be made, it's their job. The same like a plumber constantly works on improving his plumbing skills. Hackers are constantly working on how to extract money from their victims. And there are different types of malware. So let's talk about some. So I have a whole list here of malware, and I'm gonna get to those because it was not easy to cover everything. So those are the ones that we're gonna look later. But the most important ones are Trojans. They sneak malware into your PC, and scareware, that is dominantly being used now because it's something that you receive an email, something very scary. You need to click, and once you click, you get infected. And it could be a simple phishing mail asking you to log in and update your password. Then you log in and you type your password, boom, you're gone, your money is gone. Um, and this is specifically easy to do with cryptocurrencies and digital wallets because remember, once they steal your private keys, there's nothing much you can do. It's gone. Ransomware, it's when they encrypt your devices and then they send you a blackmail to say that you need to pay us money, otherwise, you won't be able to use your system. Botnets, they turn your PC into a zombie. So botnets are usually when you need to perform a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service. And for a DDoS attack, you need to have multiple devices that they're going to be operating as your robots. And quite often, many people, they don't even realize that their device is a bot. So there's always a centralized unit that controls those bots, and it only executes it when it sees fit. Um, Spyware steals your data. So spyware would simply spy on the things that you're doing and try to extract as much information from keylogger, for example, is one. So Black Mamba that we're going to discuss, and we have discussed in previous videos. Black Mamba is a keylogger that steals the what you key, and then it can convert your password. Those keylogs can convert them into a password. It's very easy. Actually, I have a demo on my channel how you can do that. Adware. So adware spams you with ads. So adware spams you with ads, and worms would spread across computers. Tachnet is a worm that we have already explained. Other types of malware include fileless malware that operates in the memory to avoid detection and persists on the system. Then you have mobile malware, which targets devices to steal data, to spy and damage the device. And then you have a wiper malware, which is one of the most dangerous types of malware because it destroys the data of the infected system, and often this is irreversibly, so you can't reverse it. Even the hackers can't reverse it. Then you have keyloggers. Black Mamba is a keylogger. It records the keystrokes to capture sensitive informations, like passwords, for example. That's all that you need to know. You don't need to know anything else on the computer. Uh, Cryptojacking. And this uses, this is a good one, uses the resources of your system to mine cryptocurrencies without your consent. So it's using your computer basically to mine cryptocurrencies. And then you have hybrid malware, which combines features of multiple types of malware for performing more complex types of attacks. So hopefully by now you understand that malware, it's not a simple thing. It's not a single one solution. There's various different types of malware. And again, most of the systems are secure by default and secure by design. And they have mechanisms to prevent this kind of things happening. And usually you would get tricked by the hacker into performing certain action that is going to unlock access to your device. Now, moving on to the next slide. Um, Building upon that argument of categories of malware, so let's look at some classical examples of these different categories. So viruses. What is a virus? Virus is a program that attach themselves to a legitimate file and then spreads when those files are executed. And one very famous in the past, one very famous virus was the I love you virus, which infected millions of systems by disguising itself as a love letter in an email attachment. So everybody loves love letters. They send you a love letter on Valentine's Day. You click, boom, you're infected. Then the second, which we discussed, are worms, and those are self-replicating malware that spreads to the network without requiring a host file. One example is the Morris worm, and I'm using that example just because of the date. This is from 1988. Since the beginning of the computers, we have malware. And here I have a link to the first worm that I can show you how it operates to spread across the internet and to cause significant disruptions and to inspire the creation of computer emergency response team, CERT. So the Morris worm was the reason why, was the inspiration behind the idea of creating CERT. Then we have Trojans, which we mentioned, but we didn't discuss how they work. Trojans are programs that can disguise themselves as a legitimate software. And one example is Zeus Trojan, which was used to steal banking information through key logging and form grabbing. Then ransomware, we have already discussed ransomware. So it's a malware that encrypts the user files and demands a payment for the decryption key. One example, another example, actually, we already had one example. This is the second example, is the CryptLocker from 2013, which was one of the first major ransomware attacks that used to use advanced encryption techniques. And the fifth category here is spyware. So Pegasus is an example of of spyware, which is used to gather information from the system without the user knowledge. And for example, the Pegasus was developed by the NCO group that exploited zero-click vulnerabilities in mobile devices to gather data from high-profile individuals. And so if you had to explain what is a soft spyware in one easy sentence is that it's a zero-click vulnerability. You don't have to click once it's installed. It just does its job. It spies on you. Um, Now, let's just look quickly through some of these links that I have. So this is the I Love You GitHub repository. This is the actual virus. It explains what is the key to success on the machine level. So if you read that, obviously I'm not going to go through this because it's a virus. I'm going to go through more advanced AI polymorphic malware, and I'm not going to go through this because this is going to eat up the time that I have for this video. But if you're interested in how this operates, you can easily read this. The link is going to be included in, actually, this is the link. So here it's on GitHub. I love you virus. And actually here you have the love bat and you have the readme, and you can click here to configure to see how it operates. Let's see the Morris form. This is very interesting because, as I said, this was one of the inspirations for cybersecurity today. And here you can find the decompiled C source code for Morris worm. So you can actually look and analyze the decompiled code for the Morris worm. It's not it's not something that we keep secret. And here you can find resources. The Morris worm it has turned 30 in February 2019. So now you can count that it's 35. Morris worm is 35 years old. What else do we have? The Zeus Trojan. So this is the GitHub repository of the Zeus Trojan. And this version can be downloaded from this link if you really wanted to look at the source and analyze it into more details. And this repository contains the code from this specific person to simplify the process of getting and analyzing the code. And that's basically what that means. It's a disclaimer. It's saying, this is not my code. I have copied and pasted it from here. It's open access. I've uploaded it, but I'm not the builder. I'm not the designer of this code. I just copied and pasted it here. That's what it says. And then it gives you a whole step-by-step installation, how to run the virus, the program. So that is the Zeus Trojan. CryptLocker. Let's look at the example of the CryptLocker. It's a ransomware simulator. So this ransomware, they spent 1 week to build it, which is written in Java to stimulate the behavior of the CryptLocker. And here again, you can use this simulator to run in a sandboxed environment to see how the code behaves. It's not something that I'm going to cover because this is 8 years old. It's just an example that I'm showing. And final example on this slide is the Pegasus project. So just going to show you the link to what it is. There was no beep, and this is one explanation how they said there was no beep, no sound at all. In this few seconds, a digital intruder entered their phone, and it's key to understand that sometimes you don't get a warning sign, and the trick is to protect your phone and to use your secure by default settings and not allow spyware tools to be installed on your device in the first place. Now, moving on to the next slides, and mm, I'm concerned that this video will get a little bit long, so I'm gonna record the second part of this video. I'm gonna end it here and I'm gonna record the second part. If you're interested in the second part, please subscribe to the channel. This is not a catch. I'm not trying to clickbait and get people to subscribe to the channel. It's just I realized that it's too long and nobody wants to watch really long videos, so I'm gonna make it into multiple parts. I was hoping to cover this in 10 minutes. It's gone more than 10 minutes already. But in the next video, I'm going to be talking about the Medusa Locker, the Wiper, the Black Mamba, that's the polymorphic malware, and Wiper bots. So those are the future types of anticipated future AI enhanced Wiper bots. And for the Black Mamba, we actually have a proof of concept to show. So this is not something, and those first two, they actually, we can click on the links and see them. Hold on. And then we're gonna look at, in the next video, we're gonna look at the worms, Trojans, and we're gonna have an example with Gydra. So this is gonna be a 10 minutes reverse engineering technique that we're gonna use. So hopefully I will see you in the next video. I'm gonna end this video here. Again, my name is Peter Radanliev. I work for the University of Oxford, and I'm preparing this video in preparation for my course, which is gonna be on AI malware analysis on January the 3rd. If you watch this video before that, you can subscribe with O'Reilly. If you watch it after, probably the course is gonna be over, but I'm gonna have other training. So for example, after this, I have another training, which is gonna be on quantum AI and cybersecurity, again with Pearson's. That's going to be in February the 10th. You can check, and you're going to find something that you can watch. But those are very long 4-hour videos. My YouTube channel will contain shorter versions, like 10, 15, 30 minutes videos the most. If it starts exceeding that, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll record another part like I'm doing with this video. See you in the next one.